Imagine being 14 years old and beating Clix,
Let's go, baby!
one of the best 1v1 Fortnite players in the world, and then he turns around and buys you a new PC. And then just a few months later, you're not only competing in the FNCS Grand Finals, but you're playing besides him and his trio in tournaments. Today, I'm going over this insane and extremely wholesome story of Josh Riley, a kid who went from being a random fan to the next generation Fortnite professional. Josh wasn't some known player. He was just a kid from Canada playing on console, grinding creative, and watching Clix stream and dreaming of competing himself one day. And then in December of 2024, everything changed. Clix gave his viewers an insane opportunity. All they had to do was beat Clix at least one round in a 1v1 and he would buy them a new PC. Which might sound easy, but if you know anything about early Fortnite comp, you'll know that Clix built his career 1v1ing and beating other pros. Josh locked in. And shockingly to everyone, he actually did. Clix then delivered on his promise and sent him a brand new gaming PC, a setup which ended up changing Josh's life as a Fortnite pro. He received his brand new PC in January, and from that moment on, he went all in on competing in Fortnite. He started playing in tournaments immediately after switching from console to PC, and he ran FNCS qualifiers, played every tournament he could, and the improvement was ridiculous. He barely missed qualifying for Major 1, and then he qualified for Major 2 Grand Finals, and they ended up finishing 23rd out of 33 teams, which might not sound crazy, but for someone who just started competing at this level after only a few months on PC, this was extremely impressive. And of course, this was just the beginning. Unfortunately, not everything in Josh's story is wholesome. During the FNCS season, Josh and his trio got caught in some of the darker side of competitive Fortnite. On July 12, 2025, a new and upcoming Fortnite player named Curve posted that he and his trio, which included Josh and another player named Tyler, were getting serious threats from another trio. Now, for anyone who follows competitive Fortnite, you already know how intense drop spot battles can get. Without having anyone nearby and all the loot to yourself and easy rotations, it can actually be a good thing to be contested. You can grab some early surge tags, maybe even some free eliminations, and set yourself up for a strong early game, and honestly, sometimes it helps. But in this case, things went way too far. This wasn't just typical in-game trash talk or a little bit of ego over a POI. It turned into full-on harassment. Josh and his teammates, being less known, started getting flooded with hateful messages, and even worse, they were getting constantly harassed and even had some of their personal information leaked and even received some crazy threats. It's wild that stuff like this even happens, and it was happening to kids. Like, these guys are literally 14 and 15 years old, and they're just trying to chase their dream of being a professional Fortnite player, not having to deal with all these people harassing them just because of a drop spot. This wasn't just intense competition anymore, it definitely crossed the line. And when all of this started spreading, the situation blew up fast and players were talking about it. Posts were going viral, and eventually Clix saw it too. He went live, and you can tell he wasn't just farming drama. He wasn't joking around. He was genuinely upset that a 14-year-old that he had supported was dealing with something like this. Clix talked about how crazy it was that established players felt the need to threaten kids, and how proud he was of Josh still showing up and competing through it all. It showed a side of Clix that a lot of people forget. Behind all the trash talk and the competitiveness, he actually cares about the next generation of Fortnite pros. And after the drama settled down, Josh didn't slow down. He only got better. He wasn't just keeping up with the competitive scene anymore, he was tearing through it. First, his trio dropped the most kills in the FNCS Division 1, putting up over 100 eliminations. That alone is insane. Then he placed third in Division 1, and he was consistently at the top of the leaderboard. And when he reached the Division 1 finals, he finished 8th and won 2 of the matches. 2 wins in a finals lobby is something even established pros struggle to do. But his big moment came next. Josh made it all the way to the FNCS Grand Finals, finishing 12th place with Curve and Tyler and earning over $10,000 in prize money. And the craziest part is they had one of the most insane comebacks of the entire event. Day 1 looked rough, but on day 2, Josh locked in and climbed the leaderboard. You have to remember, Josh hasn't even been playing on a PC for a year yet, and the progress has been absolutely astronomical. And not only that, in the Division 1 finals, Josh actually outplaced Clix. Yes, the kid who beat Clix for a PC ended up outplacing him in an FNCS Grand Finals. And you can tell Clix wasn't mad. He was actually proud. He literally bought this kid a PC, and now the kid was beating him on the leaderboard. This is one of those moments that doesn't feel real until it happens, and it wasn't just Clix who noticed. Aussie Antics, one of the biggest Fortnite comp analysts, started hyping Josh up on his stream. He said things like, Josh is one of the best up-and-coming players in the past 2 years. Somebody needs to fly this kid out to Dallas so he can be on 0 ping, and he has the chance to absolutely win an FNCS next year. When you have someone like Aussie Antics saying that, the entire comp scene really starts to pay attention. Then Josh teamed up with Peterbot, one of the most insane mechanical players Fortnite has ever had, and they weren't just good together, they were dominant. Not only did they eliminate one of Josh's former teammates, Curve, and his duo Craze, they eliminated Clix and Higgs, and even went on to eliminate Reet and Muzz, two heavily respected Fortnite players. This wasn't just a nice little story anymore. Josh was taking down huge names. They eventually finished second in Duos Division 1, and after the tournament, Peterbot literally told Josh, "Next up, you're him, kid." That's a stamp of approval most players will never get, and to get it from Peterbot is saying something. With all these results, the hype, the stacked eliminations, and the insane FNCS runs, one thing became clear. Josh didn't just use the PC Clix gave him, he transformed his entire career with it. And then the full circle moment everyone wanted happened. Almost a year after buying Josh the PC, Clix challenged him to a rematch, but this time it wasn't fan versus streamer. It was pro versus pro. The clips from that 1v1 had gone viral, Josh holding his own and still clutching up rounds against the player who helped him from the start. And you could tell Clix was proud. It's one thing to give someone a PC, but it's another to see them make something out of it. The rematch wasn't about ego, it was about respect. And that's not even the end of Josh's story. He's already accomplished so much with the FNCS run, the hype from Aussie, and the duo success with Peterbot. But there was still one more massive moment waiting for him. Clix announced his squad for tournaments, and it wasn't just any lineup. It was Clix, Higgs, Yamzo, and Josh. This is one of the strongest squads the scene had seen in a long time. Two veteran pros who have proven themselves on the big stage, one of the smartest IGLs in the region, and a kid who just got a PC 6 months ago. That right there is every young player's dream. Not just meet the pro you look up to, but to actually compete with them on equal footing in real tournaments. Their very first major test as a squad was the Squad Cash Cup Finals. Clix's squad made a statement. They ended up winning the very first game of the finals, a brand new squad, first tournament together, and they immediately took a win. Josh wasn't just fitting in, he was impacting the team. But if you needed proof that Josh belonged with players like these, the final evaluations with the Yamzo should have erased any doubt. They played 4 stacked matches together, and their placements went first, second, and first. That alone wouldn't be insane, but what made it unforgettable was Josh almost pulled off one of the craziest solo clutches of the season. He almost secured a perfect 4-for-4 run. 4 games, 4 top 2 placements, 2 wins. For a player who has only been on PC for months, that's unheard of. You don't learn that kind of composure. That's instinct and talent. Now, Josh is part of Clix's squad, competing in cash cups and scrims against the best of the best. His stats are insane. Top tier in damage, consistent placements, constant improvement. He's barely 14 and he's already in the spotlight for all the right reasons. Clix didn't have to buy him that PC, but he did. And instead of fading away, Josh made it count. That's the best kind of story, when talent meets opportunity. From a 1v1 to grand finals. From console lobbies to playing besides your idol. That's the story of Josh Riley, and something tells me this is just the beginning. Thank you so much for watching.